There we go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's a lovely Friday morning. Thank you for all of you being here. I really appreciate it. Just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me? All right. All right. So just to quickly let you guys know, yesterday we had our event for Hikvision. So I did apologize. So the video will go up as well, so you guys can see the event a little bit. I just tried to showcase that a bit more. But right, just to move along today, we are going to catch up onto that video intercom operations next week while we're doing the access control operations. So we're going to try and combine the two just to squeeze in to save up some time. So today is going to be product introduction regarding access control. We've done it before. We are moving forward. So we're going to do a little bit of product introduction and just move a little bit more towards the newer stuff and some additional information. Right. So let's get into it. Okay. If the PTT is going to work, come on. There we go. Right. So the first one's going to be access control for the first part. Second part is going to be for the speed gates and terminals. So we're going to be discussing that. So just to give you a little bit of brief information about access control, my apologies, is basically access control is going to be time and attendance, visitor manager. Then we're also going to be looking at the different terminals from the MIMO terminals all the way to the fingerprints and the multi-door control system itself. Right, so we're all familiar with access control. If you're not, there are previous videos that will go a little bit through that. So just to give you guys a little bit of an idea, obviously this can be used at banks, different schools, factories, small businesses, big businesses. It depends on what your application is, but there's multiple different ways that we can use this. Right. So just to start off with the normal effect of an access control system. So as you guys can see, let me just get my little laser out there. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, you have a normal access control. You can either use your face, your card, your finger, a pin, etc., etc. And the newer models have additional accessories. So we'll go through that. And then also you can, if you would like to, use the terminal also towards the video intercom to HIK-Central as a visitor. So you have that capability. Next up is obviously, as you can see, we also have the access control on HIK-Central. So that can be used for multiple different purposes as well as you can have the dashboard with the e-map itself. So you know exactly which direction the people are going or where they entered and etc., using the e-map, which is a very nice design, especially on the overlay of the HIK-Central itself that's on top of that. Right, makes life a lot easier. The next up is going to be basically just to discuss if it's a normal situation or a very high security situation or factory or whatever the case is. My idea is sometimes it could be maybe for security companies itself, for their own control room or security environments where it's very secure. So basically you can have anti-passback itself. So that won't allow the person to go in with his card, give it to a friend, and then obviously, you know, try and let the friend come in with his card. It won't allow him. Or you have multiple authentication that you need. So you need the manager, the project manager, and maybe the supervisor in order to open up the door. And then for most control room use as well, they'll have that interlocking doors. So it will not open up the one door unless the other door closes. So it will open up one door, you'll go into the little room area. Once that door is closed, it will open up the next door. So it makes life a little bit easier. Right, and we're all familiar with the authentication ways that we can use this specific ways. Right, we can also use it for emergency system, for the fire system, for exiting. So once your staff leaves the building, if there's maybe a fire alarm or drill, they can each take their tag or their face at the terminal or their finger, whatever the case is, saying that they are exiting the building. And through HIK-Central, we can basically monitor how many staff has gone up. So then we can say, you know what, we still have 2 staff and they were lost on the 2nd floor. Then at least you have a bit more control over that situation. So
This is mostly used for very big corporations and stuff like that, and big businesses. I don't think really it's for the price normally when it comes to all that equipment for small business. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on, carrying on. Time and attendance. All right. Time and attendance. Yeah. Did you show up on time at work? Were you there for your lunch time the entire time or not? So time and attendance is very nice, very easy, simple to use system. It can be integrated to any third-party software. So if your company is using or your HR is using a separate system, this can be pulled in from the terminal or the access control all the way into the third-party system, right? So obviously we are aware this can be for small little shops, businesses, small businesses, factories, etc., even schools. So depends on your application. So just to have a look at that little small setup. So obviously you'll have the boss, not me, your HR normally as an example, or whoever manages the staff when they join, who will enroll them onto the system. So that will basically set up the shifts or whatever their working schedule is, or whatever their locations are that they're going to be working, and whatever entries and exit they're allowed to use. That will go through, obviously, through the cloud system as well, through the HIK Connect or HIK Pro Connect as an example. And then also you have the employee with his own mobile app that will be able to give him that information of registering himself, also giving his GPS location, and also seeing his little schedule roster to say where he needs to be, when he needs to be, etc., etc. So it's very, nice regarding the fact that you can use this anywhere you would like, right? Another thing to note, obviously, through the Pro Connect, obviously you need the HIK Connect to go through to the Pro Connect as the HIK Connect portal. This allows us to be able to have, at least 10 people. If you have 10 or less, it's free. Obviously, thereafter you need to start paying. So keep that in mind. And obviously, as you can see here, very noted that on the Pro Connect, it's necessary, right, through the cloud on that system. Okay. So moving along from that, we can even go for medium size or larger size, system, as again, like I said, it would be your manager, your HR, whatever the case is. You can even have your boss to be able to check up on that kind of stuff. So it depends on what that idea is. Obviously, it goes through the cloud or it goes through the system itself. This can also be used standalone if it's just a company that just wants to do their own little system. This can be done as well, and it can be pulled in, like I mentioned, to a third-party system, which makes life a lot easier. Okay, so for the bigger and larger scale as well, same principle, same effect. There's different shifts, there's different ways that we can pull this out. You can pull the report out, which is very nice. You can either use normal PDF, Excel, whatever your preference is. The data sheets is all there, so it makes life a lot easier for that. The nice thing is you can also have that enrolling station. So for any HR, any manager that needs to enroll the people, it makes life a lot easier. Just by putting their finger, their face, their card, everything is done. Makes life a little bit easier as a product. Right. So for visitors as well, you have multiple different ways. So we're going to be discussing 2 different ways for your visitors. So if your visitor is coming to your office, to make it a bit easier and more understandable where he needs to go, what is his appointment, etc., etc. And then also for the visitor to add himself. So we'll discuss that as well. So basically, if your visitor arrives at the premises, or he's letting the salesperson know that I'm coming through to come see you guys, he can obviously make an appointment or booking. That will go through onto the system. Once it goes through, the person that's in charge of that, whether it's HR, whether it's the manager, he will basically register the person, and then it will send him an email, obviously, with a verification code. Once he's there, obviously, he admits the verification code. That will allow access to the system or to the company with a QR code or whatever the case might be. And then obviously it will also send a message to the manager saying that your VIP or your visitor has arrived. And then obviously checking out, it's the same principle. So this is a very nice setup to be able to do that if you would like to be notified that your client is there, and also to give your client a bit more freedom which direction he needs to go. Right. Same goes for very similar if you would like to help yourself. So there's multiple different units, different systems, different terminals that we can be used in this kind of environment, where basically a visitor will say, I'm visiting. You can select who you are visiting, etc., etc. It will give you a verification code, etc. Once the person accepts it, he will get a notifier to say that the person is here for a meeting. You can see all that from the office. All the reports are there. Everything is nice, and it obviously will notify also as well as the person is leaving when he's exiting the building with the terminal. Right. Okay. So regarding our touch-free environment, so let's basically have a look at those different models. A lot of you are familiar. Yes, there are 2 different new models showing in this. We do have quite a bit more, but obviously we are showcasing the most popular ones at the moment. Right. So we obviously have our normal value series itself. So those are for the companies that are small. You don't need a lot, maybe for your reception, for their table, etc., etc. And then obviously we also have the Pro and the Advanced series. So that is also available. And then we have the different mounting brackets as well. So it makes life a bit easier. And then the rest of them are we going to go through just now, that little family on the terminals. So we all know how that basically works nowadays. You don't want to go and touch anything because of COVID, so we're trying to avoid that. So that's why we are focusing on the face area or the iris part itself, that little part there. Yeah. And then also you don't want to go put a pin in because any person can see your pin, and that's not very secure. And like we said, your little authentication card, you can put it there. Yes, it helps. Maybe put your face and then your card, kind of thing, to have like a double secured environment. So that capability is there. So top security, decent and easy to use. So just to show how quick that authentication is, as you can see in the little picture here, it's not going to. There we go. That's how quick it is. So I'm going to show again, authenticate. So it's very, very, very quick, up to 0.2 of a second. All right. Okay. And then at night, when it's dark environment, let's look at that again. There we go. So this is all possible due to our deep learning algorithm that we have on the authentication of the 3D of the person's face. So I normally say to the guys when I get to the office and I walk down the pathway, if you've been to the Hikvision office, there's a little pathway towards the door. Once I get halfway, it says, welcome to me, but I'm not at the door yet. So it's an internal joke. And then I get to the door, then I have to put my face again in order for it to open up. Right, because now it picks up very far and it's very good and it's a decent quality model. The next one is also if I sometimes come to I get here with my bike, I've still got my helmet on and it only takes this portion of my face and it authenticates me and it knows already that I'm at the office and it opens up the door. So it makes life a lot easier. So even with a helmet, eh? All right, so just to show that little top security level itself, so we call this anti-spoofing due to the 2-lens camera that's on there that allows us to be able to use that high security 3D face of yours and to identify that you are the correct person and you are a human being and not a piece of paper. So just to showcase that quickly is on this one. There's a little paper. It's not authenticating the person. Failing it. There we go. So that's the anti-spoofing. So I just want to showcase. See, she puts up a little paper, but it's not identifying it. And myself, and some of you might know one of the trainers, Hunter. He's one of our trainers as well. Yeah, he's been with the company for a very long time. He's from HQ in China. Myself and him have printed our faces multiple different times, including one of our other R&D guys, Never, that does a lot of our repairs here at Hikvision. We've even printed a face of him. So all 3 of us from different areas of South Africa, we've tried to use those little papers in front of the terminals, and we tested this ourselves as well, and it does not allow us access unless we take the paper away. Right. So for some of you that weren't sure, you can try it, test it, you'll see it won't work. Okay, anyway, carrying on. So better solution basically, so much easier. Where's a little laser of mine? So for any communication itself, it's much better now thanks to the new version of ISAP 5. So ISAP 5 allows us to be able to use that protocol as a port to be able to communicate via the web through anywhere you would like. So it's up to you. It depends on your company. So if you are a local company in South Africa and you have multiple different branches over the country, you can have all those branches interlinked into one server from HIK-Central Access Control. So the nice thing about HIK-Central, very importantly, it's not just a software that's always the same. It's a software that can be modified and shaped into what your company and your business needs. So it's a program, but we can shape it into different directions in, whatever you would need. So if your company only does alarm systems and you only monitor alarms, then we shape the HIK-Central more towards the alarm side. If your company does time and attendance, then we focus more on the HIK-Central on time and attendance. So keep that in mind as well. Right, moving on. We almost we are about halfway. Right, so different models, as you can see, there is quite a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of info, a lot. Okay, so where you see it says hot, those specific models are hot, not because they are pretty looking, but they are hot. No, they're not warm. No, they are high sellers, so they are very popular in our environment in South Africa. So a lot of people are familiar with those specific models itself. And then obviously we have the two new models. We are working on quite a bit more. So as we progress forward, like I mentioned, normally you'll guys see a lot more. Right. So as you can see, all of it will basically state there what the facial capturing is and how many faces you can capture. It will also tell you if it can handle any cards. As you can see, this specific model can't because they are brackets. The brackets can't identify card types. Anyway, all right. So Wi-Fi itself, there's a mistake. The bracket is not Wi-Fi. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. All right. So as you guys can see, there's multiple different ways that we can integrate with it. So you can see whatever the support structure is that you need for your client or your environment. Okay. So hot models. So from the Ultra series, as you can see, 7-inch display, very nice. Very quick to authenticate. A lot of people's faces that you can add. A lot of cards that you can add. So very nice. Then obviously we also have the one with a little thermal on top of it. So that one there gives you obviously the temperature as well. So it's a more of a medium, but it's still very popular as well. The nice thing about that one is that depends on your environment. It has like a little bracket. So some of the models don't have the terminal one itself, but you can add it. So it depends on. Then you also get the nice little stand. The stand is very nice. It basically makes everything look neat and tidy. And then you also have the normal ones with the brackets as well. The brackets can be put onto terminals or speed barriers. We'll go through that as well. Okay. So just to show you guys on the Iris one, just give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure there is nothing. Nope. Okay, there we go. All right. So on the Iris itself, like I mentioned, I'm going to do it again. I feel like I'm Batman. No. So it just takes this portion of your face itself. That basically just to pick up your eyes itself. So on the Iris side itself, so there's multiple different models. You can have one with a fingerprint, one with a card, etc., etc. The nice thing is it's a lot more secured because it's not just your face, but it's your face and the eyeball, that thing there. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so very cool, awesome system. It runs on Linux itself, so it's a very quick and easy to use software that's built onto it. So our interface is just like all the other ones. There's no difference. There are obviously additional things, but yeah, up to 10,000 Iris faces that we can load onto the system. Right. Very nice unit. And very, very nice, slim design as well. Like really looks like a tablet type of design, like, but very modern. Okay, moving on. Okay, so here's the other facial terminal itself. So it depends on what your application is. Again, this one runs through Android itself, but obviously still with the same interface, look, and design as what our normal systems do. So this is obviously you know, I don't have to touch it, whatever the case is. So you can select whatever option you would like through that. You can either present your face or card. So it makes life a little bit easier. Here's the other one I told you guys about. The normal one is obviously a lot of guys are familiar with this specific model as well. On the 1TA70, the guys are familiar with it. It's got a little bracket there in the top with the camera itself, so it makes it also very nice to be able to capture the person's temperature. So for temperature measurements and authentication, this gives you that capability. But the nice one is that I would like to discuss is this baby here. Okay, so this baby here is not just a normal terminal. It's like little plug-in tools. So you guys ask for something where we have a terminal, and maybe after a while the client says, you know what, we don't want the finger anymore, you know, the finger. We want now to use the Bluetooth. So from our mobile phones, when we get to the door, we can authenticate with our Bluetooth, you know, kind of thing. So this will give you that capability to be able to use the Bluetooth or finger, or you can even use the Bluetooth finger and card, so or QR code. So it depends on what your application is. So it's a very nice design, easy, just clips in at the bottom, screws, got 2 little screws, holds it into place. Very nice little setup. Okay, moving on. Obviously, we've got the Value series, obviously a little bit of an upgrade model compared to what you guys are used to. Some of the guys are used to it when you say on a specific model, there's quite a few. They are very nice, easy to use, very small little units. We actually have very similar model now in our training room. We're almost there, guys. Sorry, waiting for the last little bit of stock so we can make sure that everything is ready for the guys to be able to use. Got our deep learning algorithm built into it, and it's really very cost-effective little unit itself. Okay. Whoops. Okay, then we have the ones for reception as an example, or what depends on what your needs are, but you know, normally I would say it would be for reception. So it's got a little stand, you can put it by the reception. The nice thing is that obviously if you do have your regular customers that normally come and visit you, or salespeople that come and visit you, or whatever the case is, you can load them into the system. Once they are there, it will send you a notification to your HIK-Connect app saying that your VIP person has arrived, and it will make just life easier so that you can quickly come downstairs, or you know, quickly go and then greet them, etc., etc. So very nice. Okay. Then we have our visitor terminal. We have one here at our office, at our reception. So the nice thing is about this visitor terminal is your visitor can be enrolled, or the visitor can enroll himself to say that who he's been, you know, who's he going to visit, or whatever the case might be. It's Wi-Fi enabled, so you just have to plug in the little power supply. It records all the records, all the information is there. You can have the card, you can have the finger. There's so much that you can do with this, and it's a very nice design, easy on a counter area. It looks very professional, very nice. You can have the model with the temperature screening as well, so that makes life also a bit easier, you know, seeing that we had some COVID issues and a lot of people were affected by it. So yeah, and now we move on with life. You know, now we have load shedding. Anyway, for time and attendance, for the fingerprint time and attendance, for some of you that would like to still use this method, they still have that capability. So for smaller businesses or smaller places, you have that capability of still enrolling those people, and then obviously pulling the report or pulling it into any third-party system. Right, moving on. Next one is basically if you would like to have that obviously as also to release a door. So very straightforward. You'll have that little terminal. Yeah, you'll have it going to an maglock as example. Inside the door, you'll have a card reader itself. That is what you would like to exit the building. So once you walk up to the front door of the building, you present your finger, it will identify who you are, unlock the door, you'll go in. And that information will be going through a report to HIK-Central professional for access control. And then once the person leaves the building, they'll basically put their card by the door and then they'll go out. So it makes life easy, straightforward. Multiple different units, as you can see, we do have a newer model. It will have the B on the 1T804B model. So some of you might be familiar. The new one has the B at the end. And then basically, as you can see, how many fingers you can load, how many reports you can pull. So there's quite a lot that you can do with it. Then on our access control as well, we have obviously, as you guys are familiar with our advanced one, then we have the normal general one that a lot of the guys are familiar with. That will be the K26 model. So it's either a 1-door, 2-door, or 4-door, depends on what your application is. And then we have the smaller one for smaller environments, or, you know, it doesn't have all the nice little additional features, as you can see. Right. So multiple doors, we can still have that with access control, which is very nice, very straightforward. Obviously, you can have multiple readers, one from outside, one from inside. It will unlock that door. And then you have door number 4 as an example here. So again, in and out, and all that is easy to be able to use, and it can be integrated to any third-party system. Okay, just to showcase you guys a little bit of the accessories. As you can see, obviously our access control, our readers, we also have exit buttons. Then, like I mentioned earlier, that all-in-one enrollment station, which is very nice to use because you can do the face, you can do the card, and you can do the finger there. So it makes life a lot easier. And then obviously also the power supplies. Right, just to quickly go through, it's a lot. Whew. Yeah, tiring. Okay, so for the swing gates, you know, and all those little barriers and stuff like that, we are going to be discussing that quickly. So as you guys are familiar with the previous ones that we've done, so it's very nice little systems. It can read up to 20 to 60 people per minute. So it's very high and advanced. All right. So just to give you guys a little bit of a brief introduction again about this. Obviously, these are different turnstiles and different terminals and different, you know, speed gates. So this allows people to go in and out. You have the capability. The models do come with a card reader on it built in already. Thereafter, you can add different features. You can have the ones with the fingerprint readers. You can have the ones with the terminals on them. The terminals do have brackets, so et cetera, for those type of things that you would like. And obviously, you do have the little, you know, the mats and the little sensors and everything else. So to see how many people are going in and out to record that anti-following and all those little additional things, anti-pass backs, all those things are on it. Right. Different models, different shapes, different sizes, depends on where you are. If it's for the rugby game this Saturday, then it's going to be obviously one of those big barriers that open up. You know, you need some space because some of those oaks are, I'm joking. All right. And then you get some of those that are, you know, very tall that will just like walk over it. So you do get the barriers with the higher glass itself. So, and the nice thing about those little sensors inside it itself on the speed gates, once somebody climbs over or tries and tailgates, it will not open up for that person, notifying the operator or the manager that's there to say that, listen, somebody's trying to tailgate or somebody's trying to climb over. Right. Okay. So multiple different units that we can use there, either the card reader, like I mentioned, the fingerprint, the memo stations itself, different degree angles. This is very importantly, when we put on these little terminals, the facial terminals, whether it's at the door or building or speed gate or turnstile, the mounting area is very importantly. Look, if any device, any product, any camera looks into the sun, even your phone, what can you do? Right. So obviously you need to think outside the box. So when you do think outside the box, obviously where you are mounting it, make sure that, okay, yes, you know what, there's not going to be any sunlight from the morning to the evening at this degree angle, or this way, or you know what, there is sun, so maybe I need to face it in a different direction. These are simple things that just needs to look at. Yeah, some people still get it wrong, and then they phone through, and then we have this whole big discussion. A week later, the guys will go out to the site, and then we realize, okay, you should have just put it a little bit at an angle, you know, avoided the sun or the reflection, or etc., etc. So keep that in mind, please. It helps a lot. So as I mentioned, different models, different series from the B. The B basically just goes in and out, and then also you have, or sorry, the B basically swings in and out, or you have the Y that drops down and comes back up again. You have the tripod version, and then obviously the normal turnstiles. So like I said, that IR lights, that's, you know, detectors that are built inside to be able to detect the different heights itself that we can have, the different, you know, barriers we can put ticks on it, etc., etc. It's for majority of weather. So this kind of weather we don't have in South Africa. We've got the right weather. Yeah, good weather. Right, and then obviously the motors itself on these devices are brushless, so they've got a much better lifespan, less services, etc., etc. And like I mentioned, the different heights in the glasses, different length, different width. You know, it depends on your application. So as you can see, all those little nice little barriers for the Ultra series, these are very nice design itself. And then here's the little spreadsheet just to show you the differences between what models you would like and which ones you might require. If you need any information or any more information about turnstiles or speed gates or swing gates or whatever the case might be that you're into, speak to your sales representative and get him to contact Hikvision so we can see how we can assist. Right, just to quickly show down on the Y system. So as you can see, you have the terminals on there. You can read up to 20 to 60 people per minute, which is quite a lot. There's a lot of information that we can do with this. This makes life a lot easier, and we can pull it into any third-party software. Makes life, easy. All right. Again, for that family regarding the value and the Pro series, and obviously the different ways that we can set it up. And in the tripod model, as I mentioned, it's a little bit slower. This is the old shopping center type of style. Some people still prefer it. To me, it doesn't make sense, but hey, whatever you like. I think some of the old stadiums still have similar things, but obviously not what we have, modern, but yeah. So different turnstiles, different models. As you can see, it's up to your choice, what you would like. And then obviously the normal turnstiles itself, those are those little barriers that you can walk through to make life a lot easier, more secured. So a lot of the companies are using this, but it depends on what your application is. All right. So basically the motors on top, some of them have just a single bracket for terminal on the outside, and some of them have a terminal for in and out. So you have both. We actually have one on display here that has both the terminals on it, so it makes it very convenient to use. All right. So that is it from me regarding all of that nice little information. I hope you guys had a bit of additional information there, and I hope it really helped. If you guys would like to know more, please have a look at our YouTube channel called Hikvision South Africa. We upload on a weekly basis our videos there. We had a very chaos and crazy week this week, so things will go back to normal from Monday. I still have a lot of work to do this side, so yeah. Please stay tuned for the Q&A after this. It's not going to be very long. It's going to be very short, the Q&A, but stay tuned and see you guys next week for the recording. Thank you.